There's finally some clarity from EPFO. Amid confusions from applicants and procedural hindrances, the EPFO has provided replacement method for contribution towards higher EPS or pension scheme. It has also extended the date of filing applications for a higher pension. The new deadline for applying is now June 26th. Employers' contribution for members who sign up for higher pension and are found eligible for it will be 9.49%, up from 8.33%. An additional contribution of 1.16% will come from within the overall 12% contribution of the employers. Therefore, the employer's EPF share will stand reduced to 2.51% from 3.67% earlier. A lot of numbers there, but let's break them down. Karthik, some clarity finally on what share from an employer's side will go towards pension?
Yes, there is some clarity that has come in, and like you mentioned, of course, the date has finally been extended, which is great because we were all hoping for it, and from 3rd May, which was yesterday, it has actually now increased to 26th of June. So that is great. Talking specifically about numbers, so how does EPFO operate? There are two components to it, and this is something that we had discussed on a previous show also, but we were awaiting some clarity then. We have a little bit of that clarity today. Now, 12% of your pensionable salary, which is your basic plus DA and some other components, but to simply understand your basic salary, 12% of that is your employer's contribution, your and my contribution to the Provident Fund, EPFO. 12%, the same amount, is deducted from the employee's side, and that is the employee's contribution to EPFO. Now, within this employer's kitty of 12%, earlier there was an 8.33% that used to go towards pension, and the balance 3.67% from the overall 12% that used to go to the Provident Fund. So, employees full 12% goes to the Provident Fund. Employers' contribution only 3.67% to Provident Fund. The balance 8.33% used to go to the pension fund. Now, that has been increased. If you opt for the higher pension scheme, you can go another 1.16%, taking the total to about 9.49%. So, from the employer's kitty, 9.49% of your basic salary, if you opt for the higher pension scheme, will get added to your pension account. Now, the point here is that all this will be done retrospectively if you were in service on the 1st of September 2014, that being the cutoff date. It is now done retrospectively from the 1st of September 2014. Okay. Now, this balance 1.16% has to come into your pension fund from somewhere. Where does it come from? It comes from your existing Provident Fund account. So, it is housed within the EPFO, but this balance or this sort of surplus that now needs to go with account of this 1.16% will be deducted from your Provident Fund account and transferred to your pension account.
Okay.
This of course happens for those who opt for the higher pension scheme, but the change there also is that up until now in the existing pension scheme, there was a cap of 15,000 rupees of basic salary. If you opt for the higher pension scheme, then the average of the last 60 months or 5 years of your basic salary
at the time of retiring,
retirement becomes your total sort of your average weighted average basic salary, pensionable salary, and there's a formula to it also, which is into 35, that's the maximum cap, divided by 70. The logic is that you should after retirement be able to get at least 50% of your basic salary.
Okay.
Right. So now this, with this 9.49% and now with the cap of 15,000 gone and your actual average of the last 5 years of your basic salary coming into play, the amount that gets transferred into your pension fund is likely to be fairly huge, and that becomes the deflation of your retirement fund of your pension fund.
Okay. Before we come to the formulas, I want to bring you in, Suyash. Assuming I earned 1 lakh rupees for the 5 years up to my retirement, and given the current formula and the clarity that we have, what sort of pension would I be earning? How would you calculate my employer's contribution towards EPS?
So, earlier, as Karthik mentioned, there was a cap for the EPS component. So at 15,000 the cap and 8.33% of it, so the maximum amount of contribution that could go to EPS was 1250. Now it will go from your actual basic plus DA. So as you were saying, if your salary is 1 lakh rupees, now at 9.49% you will be contributing 9,490 rupees to EPS.
Okay.
Whereas the contribution for EPF will come down from 3.67 to 2.51 and will be about 1200 rupees.
Okay. So the contribution towards PF will therefore reduced substantially there.
Employers' contribution
Employers'
reduces
contribution.
by
My
1.16%.
Employees remains the same. Is
That's
that a
right.
cause of concern? I mean, for somebody who's retiring, perhaps wants more corpus in hand at the time of retirement as opposed to having it till the time of your death. Is that a cause of concern for that person? Should that person then be opting for higher pension?
So I have spoken to some chartered accountants and friends in the personal finance field, and what I have been made to understand, and disclaimer there, I am not a certified financial planner or a chartered accountant, but what I have been made to understand is that if you are closer to your retirement and if you've been able to calculate using the formulas that Suyash was just referring to, and if you are retiring, let's say at the age of 58 and you're already in your mid to late 50s, it might actually be a good idea, given the overall longevity that people enjoy today, it might be a good idea to opt for the higher pension scheme, because your corpus over time, the provident fund corpus over time, is subject to inflation and is subject to reduction in actual real value, right, and future value. Whereas the pension amount that you get on a month-on-month basis is likely to sustain you going forward. Whereas if you happen to be somebody younger, not likely to retire soon, then the advice being doled out right now, again a disclaimer, this is not something that I am stating, this is something that I have heard, is that you continue building your PF corpus right now, and closer to retirement, take a call if you want to switch to the higher pension scheme or not.
Okay.
To add to that, what Karthik was saying, actually I am very interested in this scheme, and since I joined the workforce in 2018, I am not eligible
You're
for
not
it.
eligible.
Yes, so the scheme itself is directed towards, you know, the longer you have
That's
worked,
right.
the longer your tenure.
That's right.
Because after 10 years you are eligible for EPS. After 20 years they give you a grace period of 2 years more.
That's right.
So if you have served 33 years in service, you get almost 50% of your salary.
Of your basic salary.
Of your
Now,
basic
unfortunately,
salary.
basic salary is also a small component
Very
of
little,
corporate
as-
salaries, right, in the
absolutely.
But
private
that
sector.
compared to 6,500 which you were
Of course,
getting
of
earlier,
course,
which
of
is a
course.
big component,
Agreed.
and you get it for your life, then your widow gets it, 50%
Then your children
of it,
get
then your
it.
children get
and,
it.
and let's talk about that. Who are the beneficiaries? It's not just you, Suyash, right?
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
case of your death, I suppose 50% your wife or your
50%,
spouse.
50% goes to the spouse till their death, and after their death, if the child is minor up to the age of 25, they get 25% each for 2 children. So
Okay.
25%, 25%.
Okay. So for people like Suyash, Karthik, who do not have access to higher pension at this point in time, would have made more sense for government to keep it open for anybody who wants to opt in?
So I think every couple of years the government is going to increase this threshold, which is presently at 1st September 2014. I think every few years there
So
is
what's
going
the
to be
need
a
of
new.
the threshold,
Yes,
if I may ask you?
I don't know honestly, and you know, and there is still a lot of clarity which is awaited, and especially also on what formula, what interest rate the pension fund is going to enjoy. I've been made to understand it is going to be the same as the provident fund, but yeah, I think a lot more details are pending, and since this sort of got notified just yesterday, I'm sure chartered accountants and certified personal finance experts are,
Working
rushing
their way
into
around.
their Excel sheets
Right.
and trying to figure out what they should eventually suggest to people. But
To their
yeah,
customers.
but
to-
I think one clarity which has come is that yes, this 1.16% additional retrospectively applicable from 1st September 2014 for those who are likely to retire anytime soon, disclaimer standing by in any case, those likely to retire soon may be in a better position to avail for it.
So Karthik, EPFO also said that if there is a shortfall between, you know, the earlier it was capped to 1250, now let's say at an income of 1 lakh, I am making 9,490, I'm contributing to EPS.
yeah.
The shortfall, now I have to pay it upfront and with interest. So where is that shortfall? Do I have to pay it out of my pocket?
No, I think it goes from your existing provident fund account, which
All
has
right.
accumulated already. So it has, because the contribution is being made equally by employer, employee, by the employer in the ratio we just discussed. There is a corpus existing in the Provident Fund account vested with EPFO. Any shortfall, obviously there is going to be a shortfall if you opt for the higher pension scheme, will be debited from your Provident Fund account, credited into the
So it's
EPS
basically
account.
a reject.
It's a reject. It's a
Provident
reject,
Fund
but
to
now
EPS.
you don't end up getting that lump sum, that corpus,
Yeah.
and you end up getting post-retirement in installments. But having said that, there is still this provision that even from your pension fund, at the time of retirement, you can withdraw 50% of the amount as lump sum, and the balance gets equated monthly till the time of your retirement. One more clause to that, that if you are also eligible for gratuity, then you only withdraw 1/3 of the lump sum, and the balance gets sort of equated monthly.
Okay, so
And
those of you who are worried about not perhaps being able to withdraw lump sum because your Provident Fund corpus will reduce, can also withdraw pension if you want to.
50% or 1/3,
of it,
depending as the case may be.
in case you are eligible for gratuity.
That's right.
Yes, I think that's an interesting discussion. We will keep coming back to that as more clarity comes in from EPFO. Remember, we've been tracking this story very, very closely. For those of you who are subscribed to it, are hoping to opt for higher pension, have more time at your disposal, we will of course try and get you more clarity on should you not, with an expert very, very soon.